Hey there everyone, Scapegoat Stephen back with another video battle report. Again, another Marvel Crisis Protocol mission. So we have A-Force versus Midnight Suns. So it'll be me using the A-Force on the left and one of my club mates, Sean, on the right using Midnight Suns. Now, I'm going to have to apologise because as you can see in that bright red text, this is an 18 threat game, but apparently I bought 19 threat. I realised when editing this video, which is obviously entirely on me. I have already let Sean know as well. This was at least a club night rather than at an event. I'm sure we've all done it once or twice, so I can only apologise for that. So we ended up with an 18 threat game. Portals Overrun City with Spider People was from Sean's deck, and Skrulls Infiltrate World Leadership was from my deck. I used She-Hulk, Angela, Black Cat, Ironman, and Okoye. Maybe Angela could have been swapped out perhaps for Captain Marvel or another 4 threat maybe. And I bought Helios Laser, Medpack, Patch Up, Special Delivery, and Stalwart Determination. My opponent bought Blade, Doctor Strange, Enchantress, and Ghost Rider. I went going quite tall there and bringing Brace for Impact, Deal with the Devil, Disarm, 7 Sons of Cinnibus, and Siege of Darkness. So let's get into the game. So starting with deployment here, my opponent deploys Blade centrally. I then deploy Angela likewise. Doctor Strange goes towards the top right of the screen. She-Hulk deploys next to Angela. Ghost Rider on the bottom left. Black Cat on the top left. Angela sort of on the centre. And then Okoye top left as well. And then Iron Man sort of towards the top left, just off centre behind that big bit of scenery. So, start with Blade. He is going to go for a little bit of a walk and spend power to try and control the spider portal, which he does. And then he is just going to take a step backwards just to make sure he's then out of range to be attacked by anyone on my team. So I'm going to go with Angela next. She's going to move to that central objective and attempt to find the Skrull, which she does not do. And then she's going to move to the top objective and also attempt to find the Skrull again and fails twice in a row. So Enchantress is going to go next. She's just going to double move herself to that objective. It's also a spider portal as it happens. And she's going to not find the Skrull, but control the spider portal. She-Hulk is going to double move herself to the center and attempt to find the Skrull. Surprisingly, there is still no Skrull. It's quite a difficult one, this game. So Doctor Strange, he's going to double move and try and take that top portal out from under Angela, which he rolls and successfully does. Iron Man is going to then activate next and come up behind She-Hulk to there, and he's going to attempt to flip that portal, but fails, unfortunately. Ghost Rider's then going to move and attempts to find the Skrull, which he also fails to do. As you can see, quite a pattern here. He's then going to move. Then Black Cat is going to double move towards that top objective, and she does find the Skrull. So that's quite important there. Then Okoye is going to double move to try and fix Iron Man's mistake to hold that portal, which she does. So that's a very quick turn one. Ends with me scoring the Skrull and 1 portal, and my opponent scoring 3 portals. So it's actually 3 points apiece after turn 1. I'm then going to start the turn after the power phase by immediately playing Stalwart Determination on all the A-Force members of my roster. So Iron Man is the only one that can't. So that's basically all of my non-Iron Man models cannot be pushed or thrown this round. So obviously my opponent's got priority because he's got less models than I have. and he had priority anyway to begin with. So Doctor Strange is going to go first, and he does not like the look of the fact that Black Cat has the scroll. So he is going to attack Black Cat. He's actually going to do nothing on his first attack, which is unfortunate. And he's then just going to go for a second attack, and he does 2 damage to Black Cat. And off of She-Hulk's A-Force leadership, I'll then give her power to Angela. She-Hulk's going to go next, and she's actually within punching range of Ghost Rider. So I feel I might as well take advantage of it now, rather than hit his other characters and feed Ghost Rider power, because Ghost Rider has a power that he gains, a superpower that means he gains power when other models are damaged. So I figure get rid of him quicker. So she only does 1 damage, unfortunately, but obviously hits that slow. Then punches him again and only does 2 damage. So does really, really poorly on the damage rolls here. But crucially, puts that slow on him, although Ghost Rider can be quite fast because he's got a pay for ability. I then pick up the building and throw it at him, and completely and utterly forget my opponent has brace for impact. So he uses brace, and basically I've just wasted that big old size 4 building throw at Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider then decides maybe now is the time to activate, and he's going to attack She-Hulk, but he does 0 damage, but does get the Hex through on She-Hulk with a wild. So basically she can't crit now, or her crits don't cause additional dice at the moment. There isn't really a Hex marker, so I think we're using like an electricity marker, shock marker, that's the word I'm after. He's then going to Hell on Wheels so he can get to Black Cat, and he does 3 damage, which dazes Black Cat, and obviously she drops the skull. Ghost Rider then spends 1 to use the Midnight Sun's leadership bump in the night, so he can place 1, and then he's going to pick up the scroll. So Ghost Rider now has the scroll, and he's only taken 3 damage, I think, sorry, from She-Hulk. So I'm going to go with Angela, because I think now's the time for Angela to start smacking things. She is going to attack Ghost Rider. She does 3 damage from sort of the initial hit. I had looked at what her options were for throwing at things at Ghost Rider. So she does the 3 damage on that first hit, as I said. She then places with her, because that's the way her attack works. So she's within 2 of the that sort of crate on the top of the screen. She then does her spender into Ghost Rider and dazes him. So she gets a free attack using one of her superpowers if she dazed or KO'd a model this turn. So she throws that into Doctor Strange after she picks up the scroll, of course, and that does 2 damage. She then spends another 2 to use a superpower to pick up that crate and throw it at Doctor Strange, because I don't like the fact that he's there, basically. Sorry, apparently I'm vastly ahead of the thing here. What I do realise is, unfortunately, after I've spent all this to try and daze Strange, which I don't think I manage, I unfortunately have no power to flip the portal. Oh, sorry, I didn't spend 2 to throw the crate. Maybe that's later. But it's one of those things where I've tried to daze Strange, and I've ended up blowing all my power instead of trying to flip the portal, which perhaps was a mistake at this point. So Blade's going to move. He's just going to get himself to the other side of that objective, and he's going to throw his glaives into She-Hulk, which does 2 damage and bleed to her. Just again, that little bit of chip damage, just work away at She-Hulk, just, reduce her health over the course of time. So I'm going to go with the Okoye next. She's just going to double move to that objective and try and flip it, but she doesn't, because unfortunately Doctor Strange is still there and he is healthy. Oh, sorry, my apologies. No, I did Days Strange. Enchantress is going to move and attack She-Hulk. Again, just doing 2 damage. She's then going to pick up that cement mixer that's next to her, and she's going to throw it at She-Hulk. She doesn't do a huge amount of damage. She-Hulk rolls reasonably well. Does the 1 though. And then she's going to bump in the night just so that she is back on that objective that's towards the bottom of the screen. And final activation of the turn is Ironman. He is just going to double move and attempt to flip an objective. Specifically that one that Angela is next to. She's going to go stand next to her, and he actually succeeds and he flips that objective. So this turn I get 2 portals and the scroll, which is 4 points, taking me up to 7. My opponent gets 2 portals, so he's now up to 5 points. Obviously my opponent still has priority because of having much less activations than I did. And he's going to go with Ghost Rider to start with. And Ghost Rider is going to play Siege of Darkness. So Angela, obviously at the moment, has the Skrull. So he's going to do a Siege of Darkness attack into Angela. He does 2 damage. Doctor Strange is then going to use his Siege of Darkness attack into Angela, but Okoye will bodyguard that, and she only takes 1 damage. Blade's then going to get his free attack into She-Hulk, and does 5 damage. Does a surprisingly good glaive throw, and then Disarm gets played on Angela by Ghost Rider. He then uses his beam attack, so that he targeting both Angela and Black Cat. Black Cat's model is just behind Angela. Apologies, it's difficult to see because Angela's big and swirly and got all of her weapons all over everywhere. So it does 0 damage over the course of the 2 attacks, but it does incinerate both of them, which is quite an important thing here. My opponent just rolled low on damage. I spiked a little bit high on defense. Sort of how the game goes. But again, that incinerate is probably quite key here. Angela's defensive stats being 4 across the board, being lowered to 3. Quite important. He then does a penance stare into Angela, and unfortunately I bodyguard it onto Okoye, and again a bit of a up and down happens with some funny defense rolls versus attack rolls, and the bodyguard damage does absolutely nothing to Okoye. So I'm then going to activate Angela because I figure I've got to activate her before Strange goes, because Strange's probably got a chance to take her out. I do a first attack and do nothing, and then I do a second attack and do nothing again. It's unfortunate that Strange then takes the crate to the face. He does take 3 damage from that. Apparently he can't dodge. He can just defend. And then I'll Medpack myself. Angela will spend that 2 to heal 3 from that tactics card. So Blade's going to go next. He is going to move back up towards that sort of melee where the Skrull is, up at the top of the screen. He's obviously just checking currently before he moves Blade what everyone's health is, what power people have got, can Okoye bodyguard, that sort of thing. Obviously, the problem he's got now is I believe Strange has not activated yet. So over goes Blade. He's going to move, then he's going to use Bump in the Night, and he's going to Katana's Okoye. Unfortunately, he does 0 damage again. Little unfortunate Blade. He spiked down, especially because he's got a Mystic attack, so you'd normally expect it to do a bit more damage. Strange doesn't have that much health, so I'll go with Okoye now because I'm looking at it thinking Black Cat can go for his portal at the back because she's quite fast. but I'm relying on Okoye with 2 attacks into Strange. So she hits him with her first attack and does nothing. So it's very, very close at this point. I think he's got, what, 2 health left, I think. He has got the power as well to spend to increase his defense dice. So then Okoye's going to go with a second attack, and she does manage to daze him. She's then going to pay to try and flip that portal because there are no healthy enemy characters next to it. So it should be, in theory, relatively easy, but she fails. She does also roll the skull, so my opponent gets to push her the 2, or place her the 2, I should say, away from the portal. Just lining me up there nicely for anyone who's aware of, I believe it's the 7 Sons of Cinnibus beam attack, that I've now got 3 characters all in a nice row. So Enchantress is going to go next. She's going to attack Ironman, does 2 damage to him, but because he's got a damage reduction ability, it goes down to 1. She's then going to spend 2 to push Ironman small, although she can do that after she attacks, sorry, a second time. Her second attack, unfortunately, only does the 1 damage. So total, Ironman has taken 2 damage, and he's then obviously been pushed away down there. She then pays to try and flip this portal that Ironman flipped last turn, and which she succeeds. She does also, she bumps in the night just to get herself a little bit further away from Ironman. Just there. So Black Cat's going to go next. She is going to try and flip the spider portal at the top, which she's unsuccessful. She fails to do that. There we go. There's the roll. 3 blanks, I think I got there. Really didn't go very well. She's then going to Troublemaker. She's going to spend 2 to Troublemaker Ghost Rider. So that does the one damage and the stagger. She will then spend to place herself within 2. Then she'll move long to be bodyguarded by She-Hulk. Just basically so, because she's not basically going to be able to reach that spider portal towards my opponent's deployment line. So there's a quick discussion here about actually where should she go, thinking if I can get her somewhere where she then just does a single move to get to there. So there's the place, and then we'll just check the measurement 2, and we'll just long move there, so within 2 of She-Hulk. We're then going to patch up She-Hulk because she needs the health. And then it's basically to me for 2 attacks. So we're going to, or two character activations, I should say. So we're going to go with Ironman. He's going to do Friday AI, and then he's hoping for a wild to get Enchantress off that objective. So he shoots her. He does get that wild, and he pushes her small, so it gets her away from that objective, which is the crucial, important thing this turn. I don't think I do any damage. I didn't record that I did any damage, so I think it's just the push. And then we'll go for a nice walk to there, and we will pay to flip the portal. But we fail again, but we get the skull, so I just get place 2 backwards again. Bye. So basically, Enchantress and Ironman are just playing like the reverse tug of war here, just pushing each other away from an objective. She-Hulk's then going to activate, and she's just going to go for a walk. In hindsight, maybe I should just double moved her and taken her to the objective and tried to flip the objective, because she's got 4 energy defense, so actually she's rolling quite well. Got a good chance of flipping those portals. But instead I superior weight training and punch Ghost Rider for 3, just because we can. And then I pay, and I'm going to throw him away because, again, he's slow-ish. If he can't afford to pay for his Hell on Wheels move, he can be quite slow. So I figure here that, especially because I've given him the slow condition from my attack, the best option here is throw him backwards, not into the car. I don't want to do any damage to him. I just want to keep him basically out of the way. So we'll throw him over there. I think he was quite low on health, so I think I was setting him up to then be able to smack him next turn. So I score 3 points again. So I've got 1 portal, which is my home portal, and the Skrull. So it takes me up to 10. And my opponent's got 3 portals, which takes him up to 8. So again, opponent still has priority, as he's had throughout this entire game. So he's going to start with Ghost Rider, who's going to spend 3 for Hell on Wheels. And I've got 3 characters lined up again, because foolishly I bought She-Hulk in to replace Black Cat. So Ghost Rider is then going to use his beam attack, targeting Angela, Okoye, and She-Hulk. She-Hulk does bodyguard for Angela, because again, Angela still has the Skrull, and I don't want to lose it. But she does take 6 damage and is incinerated by that bodyguard attack. She's then going to take 2 damage for the beam when it hits her. So that's 8 damage from 2 attacks on Ghost Rider. And then he's going to shoot Okoye and somehow not do any damage. Okoye is clearly on it this turn. And again, all 3 of those characters are incinerated now, because Angela was already incinerated from a previous turn. In fact, the only character on my team that isn't incinerated currently is Ironman. Then he's going to bump in the night just to get into a different position. And we're going to go with She-Hulk. Blade is stood right next to me. He's right there. So I decided that actually I'm just going to punch Blade. You know what? Deserves it. Just give him a good old smack. So we do superior weight training to get the extra 2 dice. So we're doing like a 7 dice physical attack into Blade. And it goes up to 9 dice because of that superior weight training. So we managed to only do 5 damage. Only 5 damage, he says. And then we just do the same attack again. And then Daze Blade. And then probably a very expensive power throw here, but I pick up that lamppost that's next to her and just throw it into Ghost Rider. Just in the off chance to do a little bit of damage. You know, it's neither here nor there at this point. It's just to try and whittle down Ghost Rider so that he's more manageable. Or like, you know, I can daze him on the top of the turn or take him out and force the spend for deal with the devil, which does replace another character. So if he gets rid of one of his characters to bring Ghost Rider back on that, I'm okay with that. So Doctor Strange is going to go next. Do you remember that 7 Sons of Cinnibus card we discussed earlier? So he's going to pay 1 to bump in the night and line all 3 of my characters up with the 7 Sons of Cinnibus. And yeah, he's again, the beam's going to go into Angela, Okoye, and She-Hulk. So he starts by choosing Okoye because Okoye has bodyguard and he doesn't want her to be bodyguarding things. He does Daze bodyguard. Does Daze bodyguard? But Daze is Okoye, who is one of the 2 bodyguards that's there. My apologies, poor wording on my part. He does do pretty well on the attack roll as well. So then we're going into She-Hulk. She-Hulk takes 2 damage, and then it becomes a, do I bodyguard this attack or do I bodyguard the next attack? She-Hulk's taken a load of damage, but look at the attack into Angela. I decide to take it on the chin to start with, and Angela takes 5 damage, which leaves her on 1, which is obviously very, very close to death, because she's only got those 6 health. Then Doctor Strange just has another attack. So he's going to attack Angela again because she's only got 1, but I'm going to bodyguard it onto She-Hulk. And he does actually, with that attack, finishes She-Hulk off. So it does just completely knock her out and pulls her off the table. So obviously I've got no leadership anymore from She-Hulk coming in. And yeah, it takes quite a heavy hitter off the table, really. She-Hulk being pretty tough. So there she goes. So we're going to go with Angela. So she's going to use her spender into Strange. And she attacks him. She only does 1 damage, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's a 6 dice physical. She's then going to do her standard attack, which is also a 6 dice physical into Strange, and does no damage. So again, he's pretty good on this whole physical defense malarkey when he's spending his power to up his defense. So I'm just going to throw that car at him. So the neat trick with her standard attack is she then gets to place herself within 2 of the opposing models. So I basically just moved her close enough to the car and close enough to the portal to interact with both. So she picks up the car, smacks him with that. He takes 3 damage from the car apparently, because he can't dodge. He can just defend. And then we roll and we flip that top portal as well, which is pretty big. So my opponent only has Enchantress left to go. And she's going to move because she can't get to Angela. There's no way she can reach Angela, but can she stop Black Cat from messing about with one of these objectives maybe? So she is going to move, use Bump in the Night, and attack the Black Cat to stagger her. So she's got a stagger attack, and she does manage it, and she does 3 damage to Black Cat, which leaves Black Cat I think on 2. So we're quite, and she's dazed. She's already been dazed previously, so she's on her injured side. She has literally just got that 2 health left. I'm seeing, can I get a cheeky Helios Laser here with Ironman? Decide, nah, too far away. I've put him on a flank. It's not good enough. So Black Cat's going to go. She's going to spend 2 to Troublemaker Enchantress, doing 1 damage and stagger back to Enchantress. She then spends 2 to place herself next to that portal and flips it. And then Ironman is just going to move to this bottom portal and flip that as well. So I get 6 points now. From the Skrull and 4 portals, get me 16 points, and my opponent doesn't score anything this turn, so the game ends 16-8. So yeah, a win there for A-Force, although, as I said at the start of the video, unfortunately I was looking back on it playing 1 threat up. I think perhaps I could have baited out Brace a little bit sooner with She-Hulk, rather than wasting that size 4 building being thrown at Ghost Rider. Really enjoying A-Force at the moment. Like, I think they're very much my play style of control, attrition, and punching. I've got a few more games with them under my belt at the moment. I am looking at my roster and tweaking as I go. So hopefully, maybe I'll do a video on my A-Force roster at some point in the future. But thanks for watching, and hope to see you again next time.